Now at 5, Pittsburgh city officials discussed the development of a new bar in Pittsburgh after approving an $80,000 loan for the project. Plus, an area blood center stresses the critical need for blood donations. And
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses Congress. I'm Natalie Brand with his speech and the demonstrations inside and outside the U.S. Capitol.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Pittsburgh agrees to match 10% of the total cost to help expand a local business. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. The Blue Spoon has its eyes set on a new location they hope to turn into a speakeasy-style bar and entertainment venue. The location selected is on West 4th Street at the old Spicer Adams building. The project represents a total of an $800,000 investment. The city, which has agreed to match 10% of that cost through a grant, would pay $80,000.
We have about $1 million a year through our sales tax to help incentivize businesses to grow, to start new, and so that's how that's used. It complements our existing 50/50 sidewalk program. We always help with running utilities to the property lines, but this is actually for acquisition and development. A lot of times it happens to older buildings.
Blue Spoon says they still have financial investments that need to be secured before the project starts. However, the project is expected to be complete this coming March. The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is reaching out to the community for help resolving a historic blood shortage. Officials from the center say they are down to their final reserve of blood, desperately needing the community to donate blood, plasma, and platelets. 45 area hospitals, including Freeman and Mercy, receive blood from the Springfield organization, but the shortage could cause issues for people needing transfusions.
We have not put out an emergency appeal like this in over 2 years. There have been some other nationwide critical appeals that go out, but locally we haven't been seeing this low of a shortage in 2 years.
Officials say the best way to help during a shortage of blood is to find your local donation center or blood drive and donate as often as you can, if possible. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be another hot one for us today for your Wednesday. Slow warming trend is what we've been seeing over the past couple days. Joplin sitting at 91, near 90 in Pittsburgh. Everybody is dry. We can't rule out an isolated little shower trying to pop up this afternoon. But 89 in Stockton, Anderson sitting at 88, 90 in Miami, 91 in Pittsburgh. And then you get into the mid-90s once you get into our western counties. We do have some cumulus clouds, but underneath them, dry at this time. That's mainly what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours. We'll slip back through the 90s, 80s into the 70s. I think we'll bottom out into the upper 60s later on tonight. Now, it gets even a little bit hotter for us as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. Also, some better rain chances. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. President Biden is set to deliver a primetime address tonight from the Oval Office about his decision not to seek re-election. The remarks come as Vice President Kamala Harris continues to make the case for her own presidential bid at an event in Indiana. You can watch President Biden's address right here on KOAM and on our sister station, Fox 14. It's scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu paid a controversial visit to Capitol Hill, where he delivered a fiery speech asking for U.S. support in his fight against terror. Natalie Brand has more.
Speaking before a joint meeting of Congress, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unveiled a plan for Gaza's future after the war.
Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza, but for the foreseeable future, we must retain overriding security control there to prevent the resurgence of terror, to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
The Israeli Prime Minister is in Washington hoping to bolster U.S. support for the war against Hamas. A war Israel sees as a fight for survival after the October 7th terror attack.
Our fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory.
But some lawmakers are sending a message of their own, choosing not to attend. They're protesting Netanyahu's leadership in the face of international pressure for a ceasefire in Gaza. Vice President Kamala Harris skipped the speech, citing a scheduling conflict, and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi instead met with families of hostages held in Gaza.
And I think it's time to make a stance, and I'm doing it on behalf of my constituents.
In addition to the boycotts inside the chamber, protesters rallied outside, gathering hours before the prime minister's arrival.
Palestine will be free!
Thousands of pro-Palestinian demonstrators assembled near the Capitol, as well as other demonstrators who support Israel but are staunchly opposed to Prime Minister Netanyahu, calling on him to prioritize bringing home the hostages.
He is doing everything he can to sabotage the deal for his own political survival.
Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with President Biden and separately Vice President Harris on Thursday. Then he heads to Florida to meet with former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Friday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Still ahead, as parents and students get ready to go back to school, we'll see how much the average family is spending this year. And next in Health Watch, a partnership in Pennsylvania is allowing pet owners to get health care for themselves and their furry friends at the same time. Topping today's Health Watch, one of the most popular non-surgical cosmetic procedures in the world may give new hope to children with cerebral palsy. A recent randomized clinical trial published in Developmental Medicine and Child Neurology finds injections of Botox trigger some decrease in the calf pain intensity. The shots also helped improve energy levels in kids with the condition, who can use up to 5 times more energy than able-bodied people when moving around or walking. What's a positive collaboration? A new model of healthcare is making a difference, providing medical aid to pets and their owners. The Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania and Allegheny Health Network have teamed up, offering the routine services for both. Alexandra Todd has more.
This mobile veterinary van and medical clinic in Braddock, Pennsylvania,
yeah, you're the most important, huh?
are treating 2- and 4-legged patients.
We know that people who have pets, they do for their pets what they won't necessarily do for themselves.
They get what they need first, and then me. I can do my stuff afterward.
The Humane Health Coalition is a partnership of Allegheny Health Network and Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh. Last fall, for the humans, the mobile clinic added HIV, Hep C testing, vision exams, distribution of food, hygiene products, and clothing, while offering housing resources.
It's a way in which we can start to tackle some of the healthcare needs of people who have healthcare gaps.
They have social workers who have similar personal experiences that make the process less daunting.
It's important to meet people where they are, right? And if you're a good listener, your community will tell you what their needs are.
Kristen Yoder was homeless for 2 years. After she and her pets received care, she was finally able to get an apartment.
We didn't have a way to get to regular vet or get checkups or the shots that we needed. We had been bounced around. So this was very, very handy.
So far, they have hosted a dozen mobile health clinics reaching hundreds of dogs, cats, and their owners.
We offer spay and neuter vouchers, which helps the pet population. We offer microchips, which helps if a dog gets lost.
Because if the owner's not good, the pet's not going to be good, because the owner's not able to give the pet the love that it needs.
Organizers are hopeful this program will serve as a model and spread to other cities around the country. Alexandra Todd, CBS News, Braddock, Pennsylvania.
The initiative, based on the CDC's One Health model of care, which stresses the health of people is closely connected to the health of animals and environment. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to tell you why small dogs bark more.
Plus, temperatures get even a little bit hotter as we go into Thursday. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot Wednesday for us today, but overall, pretty good day for the last week of July across the region. Partly sunny skies, those cumulus clouds kind of popping up during the afternoon, but a nice shot of our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. This is our tower cam just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures a little bit hotter today. 88 Nevada, 89 is where we stand in Neosho, Grove at 90, Veneta at 90, 91 in Chautauqua, and then we have Chanute and Neodesha and Yates Center all checking in at 94 degrees. And our humidity starting to crank up a little bit, so we have heat indices into the lower 90s in Missouri and then low to mid 90s once you get out across Kansas and also parts of Oklahoma. Through the evening, slide back through the 90s, 80s, 70s, eventually into the upper 60s later on tonight. And we do still have those spotty cumulus clouds out there. Underneath the clouds, we're not seeing much. We can't rule out a stray little shower as we go through the rest of the evening, but most of you will end up staying dry. Still watching our flow out of Canada, keeping our big dome of high pressure out toward the west. We do have a little tropical moisture just south of Houston. We'll tap into that once we get a little bit closer to Friday and also on Saturday. All right, through the night tonight, pretty quiet. We drop back about 68, 69 degrees. As we go through the morning hours, by noon, upper 80s. Once we get into the afternoon, I think most of us 90 to 92. But look at the hit and miss storms, a little bit more numerous than what we've seen over the past couple days. So hit and miss storms mid to late afternoon into the evening hours and then dying out as we go through the overnight hours tomorrow night. On Friday, starting near 70 during the morning, a little bit cooler. We're going to have some more clouds on Friday. And again, look at the pop-up scattered thunderstorms as we get into Friday afternoon. Very hit and miss. But the areas that do see them could get some very heavy downpours. Rain chances decrease by Saturday morning, and then we'll go up again once we get into Saturday afternoon. All right, day planner 71 to start, 88 by noon, 90 by 4. High temp, 92 again, a few isolated little thunderstorms. Heat indices a little bit higher for us tomorrow as well. It's going to feel like mid to upper 90s across the region, and then they'll drop back a little bit once we get into Friday. Heat indices back down into the lower 90s for the afternoon. All right, let's go toward the weekend, of course. We have those chances for scattered thunderstorms sticking around on Saturday. Better chances are going to be across central Missouri down through central Arkansas, but we are going to have some scattered showers and thunderstorms, and maybe even a few to start the day on Sunday. Then here comes the heat back into the mid 90s by the time we head into Sunday afternoon, and then into the mid to upper 90s by the time Monday rolls around. 92 tomorrow. Let's go 89 on Friday, 86 Saturday, 92 on Sunday. So we are going to have hit and miss storms the next couple days, and then a few hit and miss storms next week as well, but it gets much hotter as we go through the week next week. Definitely not looking forward to those triple digit days for sure. We won't. I like the lows in the 60s, not the 80s. It's nice, yes. Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. Thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, a new report estimates just how much money was lost due to last week's global IT outage. Topping today's Consumer Watch, we're learning more about the possible financial impacts of last week's devastating global IT outage. The CrowdStrike software glitch will reportedly cost Fortune 500 companies alone more than $5 billion in direct losses. The IT meltdown hit the healthcare and banking sectors the hardest, with a combined estimated loss of nearly $3 billion. Fortune 500 airlines such as American and United were the next most affected, losing a collective $860 million. As we get closer to August, the start of the school year is getting closer, and already many families have started back to school shopping. Parents should be prepared to spend a lot this year. Gene Sullivan looks at how much families are spending and ways to score some deals.
The start of the new school year is just around the corner, and that means it's time to start thinking about back to school shopping.
We're expecting consumers shopping for back to school and back to college to spend at near record amounts.
Parents are preparing to spend big on supplies this year. The National Retail Federation estimates families with children in elementary through high school plan to spend an average of $874.68 on school supplies, clothes, electronics, based on their annual survey. While that's $15 less than last year's record of $890.07, it's still the second highest amount in the survey's history. Nationally, the group expects U.S. families will spend close to $39 billion on back-to-school shopping.
The top reason people say that they start early is to spread out their budget.
Parents are budgeting on average about $310 for electronics, $254 on clothing and accessories, $142 for school supplies, and $171 for shoes. College students are bracing to spend even more, with the average student expecting to shell out $1,364.75 on items for the upcoming school year.
We know that things like electronics are a much bigger portion of back to school and college spending than they used to be.
So, what are some ways families can save?
We know that discount stores have certainly carried a larger variety of school supplies, and as consumers are looking for value these days, that is another top destination for them.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Evictions have exceeded pre-pandemic levels in some major cities. According to records, eviction filings were above pre-pandemic levels in Gainesville, Florida, Las Vegas, Houston, Phoenix, Nashville, and Fort Worth. Experts blame a combination of surging rental rates and the expiration of COVID-era protections. Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, what to expect from President Biden's primetime address. And then on KOAM News at 6, we'll hear more from Blue Spoon officials on their plans to develop a new bar in Pittsburgh. Plus, work resumes to uncover the graves of those killed during the Tulsa Race Massacre. And after a historic 2024 season, Pitt State softball coach announces she's headed to the Division I level. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. We may not always understand what dogs are saying, but many of them love to communicate to us. Today's question for our pet vet on call: it seems most small dogs generally bark the most. Is that true?
Oh, I think it just seems that way. First of all, there are more small dogs, especially in the big cities and apartments and stuff, so it kind of may seem that way. Second of all, there's probably some reasons. We've bred these small dogs to be super, super tiny and fragile. So they need protection, so we always carry them. We coddle them, we spoil them rotten, and that makes them more yippy because that's that normal dog behavior. Secondly, there are dominant aggressive breeds in all dog breeds. The small breeds are your Chihuahua, your Dachshunds, your Terriers, and so like the real dogs, their job is to protect you, and therefore they bark a lot when you get near them. Then there's also the Napoleon syndrome, little dog, big bark. There may be something to that because size is in here, not in the body. So yeah, it might just seem that way, or there may be some truth to it.
We invite questions from anyone. If you have one, just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. And you can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Now let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we have Zippy. The shelter says he's a 3 to 5-year-old lab mix with a high energy level. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have this 4-year-old male pit bull terrier. His name is Oscar, and he loves to listen and travel. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Cute dogs. Final check of the weather?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good out there through the evening hours. It is hot. Temperatures will slide back through the 90s. 80s and then near 70 later on tonight. Some hit and miss pop-up storms over the next 3 days. Temperatures kind of very consistent to what we have been seeing, and then they start to accelerate upward as we get into next week. And let's see here, next Thursday is the beginning of August. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
And then it gets hot. For sure. Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.